Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stratosphere Studio. Very, very, very sorry about the late start here. Just give me a second. We'll grab our friends over on Twitch here. Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Stratosphere Studio. I'm your host, Bill Whittle. It is Monday, the 23rd of December. Awfully sorry about the late start. I did something I'm just really, really terrible at. I've just not the first time I've done this. I've gotten myself into like major trouble. I don't know how many times over the course of my life. 5 times probably. It's a professional issue. Let's get our comments up here. Hang on a second. Yeah, it's a real brain bug. So I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I'll tell you what I did for that. It's just so I've done it so many times. Make sure you can hear me there. Yeah, it looks like everything's. Yeah, at least I'm not bouncing a glider down the runway. That's exactly right. Let me move over just a little bit. So what I was doing was I just had it set in my head. I recorded our right angles for the week. I talked about the big, beautiful battleship, which made me really, 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 really happy. And that gave me about an hour and 45 minutes to do something that I thought would take me a lot less time, and it took more time than I thought. So I kept staying at it and staying at it and staying at it. Then I doubled up the walk-in on the Twitch side because I thought, that I could get it done, and it just kept getting away from me. Finally, I just said, just not going to happen. Let me just. There's one thing I can do. Just give me 1 second here. Just because I'm so excited about it. I just love it so much. 1 second. I'll just make a real simple show here. And I'll just output this, and then I can at least show you what I got done. But I am just just nuts excited about all this stuff. I can't control myself here because the quality of what we're getting is just. And this Nano Banana Pro. Is amazing. So let me just go ahead and export this. I thought it'd get done. It's not even close to being done. But I do have one thing that's kind of done to show you. So anyway, like I said, awful sorry to keep you waiting. It's just, there was a time, yeah, Roadrunner says, not battleships, but battleships with freaking laser beams coming out of their top. I couldn't believe how happy that made me. You have no idea. I really was just tickled. As I mentioned on the, we did this week, we decided to do the backstage show, make it available for the public. That's going to be fun. But I was talking about the, what the heck am I doing here? I'm trying to get the comments. And I got to turn off the, monetization. Hang on 1 second. But I was, as I mentioned on this backstage show, I went into 7-Eleven. I was here till about midnight 2 nights ago. Honest to God. And as I was walking into 7-Eleven, I was thinking, I wonder if it would cost more money to put new power plants in the existing 4 Iowa battleships and refloat them. I know they're museum ships and stuff. Or whether it would be cheaper just to build entirely new ones. And I just thought, man, I'd love to have those things back because and next thing you know, I wake up the next day and Donald Trump has announced that we're building a BBG. And you'll hear more about that on the right angle, which I'll have ready for you in the morning tomorrow. So let me just get my, and next thing you know, I wake up. Let me just get my comments up here where I can see everybody, so then we're good to go. So you go over here. over here. Hooray. Okay. Yeah, I'm with. It's funny you mentioned that because I don't know if it was Steve. I think it must have been Steve who said it just should have been a BBGN, should have been a nuclear-powered battleship. But you know, the Arleigh Burkes and everything are you know, fuel powered. So you got to be going to a fleet. So Snitch wants to say, says, you used to be so edgy. WTF happened? I don't know, man. Just get older and duller and more boring, I guess. That's pretty much it. Yeah. I'm sure you can find edgy people out there somewhere, though. Anyway, this is our Monday night show, which is our pop culture show, and lately that's been pretty much the colonies. So I just have been working like crazy on this stuff. So I got some cool things to show you here. Eric says, speaking of battleships, Bill, odds are we're going to see the Japanese. Oh, what are the odds we're going to see the Japanese building a new and improved Yamato to dominate the Chicon Army Navy? I think it'd be awesome. I think that Iowa would have eaten Yamato for breakfast. Anyway, so let me show you what I finished a couple days ago and what I was trying to get finished today. Let me see here. The I don't know. You probably will recognize it. I certainly recognize it. The quality of the detailed quality of what we're able to do is just getting better and faster, pretty much by the day. So let me see where I found this here. Desktop, yeah. Let's see if I got this right. Down here somewhere. Yeah, Bill's been chiller since he's gotten married. I have been chiller. It'll do it to you. All right, here we go. Hang on.
Honey, I'm sorry.
Hang on.
Yeah, but I don't see any way to get into our own.
Scroll. Okay, that'll work. But you might be interested in this channel called Two Brain Cells, which imagines modern military tech and ancient battles. That could be cool. Okay, so I got two things to show you. I got the thing that I did yesterday, and then I got a partial thing that I was trying to get done in time to get the show done, but it just didn't get done. So there's that. Let's see, how do I want to do this? I'm going to look at all this junk here. Hang on a second. Let's just delete all this crud. Okay, so this is, again, working to get scenes where the whole purpose is can you tell a story, dramatic story, with two requirements. The first one is, did the characters look consistent throughout the shots? That's been the number one problem so far, and I think we achieved that. And then the second one is, can we do it so it doesn't look like AI? And more or less, I think so. This is what I'm about to show you here is not a motion captured performance. It's a text to video performance, and that means you have to just iterate it and iterate it and iterate it until you get a performance that you like. So I spent some time on this one a couple days ago, and I will just toss it up there and just run it a couple times. Hail Gerald Stewart. All right, here we go. Ready? I'll drop it into YouTube, and then I'll drop it into Twitch. So, yeah, this is just a little scene here. Ready? Here we go.
Honey, I'm sorry. I really am,
God
but I don't see
damn
any
it.
way to get into our own hab until after we get that number 6 wheel replaced. It's just a catastrophe
Twitch.
waiting to happen.
I agree.
We're probably going to have staying here for another month, maybe 2.
It's not the end of the world, Jake.
Claire is gonna lose her mind.
What's she gonna do? Hitchhike home?
We could just chain her to the roof rack, I guess.
She'll be all right. She just needs some time.
Honey, I'm sorry, I really am, but I don't see any way to get into our own hab until after we get
Let's
that
run it
number
twice.
6 wheel replaced. It's just a catastrophe waiting to happen.
I agree.
We're probably gonna have stay in here for another month, maybe 2.
It's not the end of the world, Jake.
Claire is gonna lose her
Nope, hang on.
mind.
Run it twice.
What's
for
she
you
gonna
guys.
do? Hitchhike home?
We could just chain her to the roof rack, I guess.
She'll be all right. She just needs some time.
Honey, I'm sorry, I really am, but
Okay, let's get the other one. So that was the first one. And then what I was trying to do, well, as I said, this is not a motion capture performance. So when I have real actors, I can get more nuance. Now this one's just all over the place. I finished this. I mean, it's just all over the place. It's just, but I just did it. So it's just the same scene, just trying to add some stuff here.
honey? I've been trying to think of a way around
the
this, and
interior
there
of this
just isn't
robot.
one.
I'm sorry, baby. I don't see any way to get into our own hab until after we get that number 6 wheel replaced. It's just a catastrophe waiting to happen.
I agree.
We're probably gonna have stay in here for another month, maybe 2.
It's not the end of the world, Jake.
Claire is going to lose her mind.
Honey?
That's what happens when you have text to video. You know, the AI does the acting. So yeah, if I had time, I can get it there. So. So, okay, no, put a lot of work in that. I was real happy with it. So, let's just jump into the questions, why don't we? Come on. Yeah, the acting is kind of bad too. This is why I've said for the third time, this is text to video, and it's letting the AI do the acting. It's not the facial motion capture that we're able to do. I am able to do it. I just wasn't able to do it here, and I don't think I'm showing anything anymore until it's done, honestly. I really don't. That's really another bad problem that I have. Thank you for curating this, Ian. I really appreciate it. Ian Nolan, Bill, you've been on AI Video Kick lately. You worked a nightclub for years. Are you a fan of Lord of the Rings? Here's Lord of the Rings Disco, One Funk to rule them all. Yeah, I've seen it. They do a lot of this stuff where they'll take like Star Trek and turn it into like a Soviet, like a Soviet film and stuff. They're kind of hit and miss. Some of them are great, some of them aren't. There was a whole series that a guy did, like he did Redneck Harry Potter and Redneck, all of this stuff. So a lot of it depends on the quality of it. I haven't seen this one yet, but they're out there. So we'll see. Roadrunner, buenas noches, amigo Bill. Hey, Roadrunner, how are you? It's been so long since I've seen a trailer for a movie I would be interested in seeing that I cannot remember. I think it might have been The Greatest Showman. But I finally seen a teaser trailer for one that has me somewhat excited. The trailer for Jimmy has been released, inspired by the true untold story of Jimmy Stewart. I've admired General Stewart for most of my life, and this trailer highlights what he had to go through as a major Hollywood star to join the Army Air Corps and his journey to become a true hero, as stated in the trailer. Yes, he won he didn't win. He was awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross. He was an actual, genuine hero, and he's terrific. He's just absolutely my favorite American actor. I just love him. It's great that someone's actually producing an inspirational, patriotic movie about someone I respect. I plan on going to a theater to see it. What's the last movie you and Natasha went to a theater to see? P.S. The Fat Electrician has posted a video on Frank Luke. Three days ago, and he's got almost 1 million views. Okay, well, got to move fast in this world, which is why I am moving out of this space. Let's see. Yeah, so it looked like a little segment of another segment, so, we'll see. The last movie we saw together, man, I don't remember. It says a lot about the state of movies. There are two movies that I want to see in the theater. One of them is Avatar. I don't want to see Avatar. I really have no real desire to see Avatar. I just, I guess I just feel like I just kind of have to, for no other reason than, the stuff. But anything that's done by traditional CGI just looks so flat to me now. And Avatar is state of the art, $400 million CGI, and it looked absolutely amazing in 2009. Now I look at it and it just looks like, like meh, not impressed. The movie I really do want to see very much is Hamnet. Very, very much. I'm a Shakespeare fanatic, I read everything I could about him, and I really I like stories about this, and I knew the basics, the very, very basics about it, that he'd lost a son and that there was a previous play called Hamlet that was just garbage and that Shakespeare adopted it, but I didn't realize it was turning into I didn't realize how much it was dependent on his loss of his own son. It just looks fantastic. I'll watch anything with Shakespeare in it, and I just that one I'm really looking to see. Airtechie says Avatar 3 is turning in disappointing box office numbers. Yeah, because it's the same movie. It's the same movie as Avatar 1 and Avatar 2. It's the same villains. It's the same family. It's the same hero. Plank of wood. I saw something on Facebook where it was like, here's the Navi character and here's the actor who played him. And one was who played Lalu, and the other one played Nati, and the other one played Hoo-Ha. And it's like, they're all the same to me. I don't get, there's no, Jake Sully has no character. There's nothing interesting about him. Natiri is the only name I remember. She's perennially outraged and just a arrow shooting girl boss. I love how they shoot arrows through in the first movie they shot an arrow through glasses designed to stop a high velocity, not even small arms firing, a 50 caliber round. Shot an arrow through that in the first one, and in this one, they shoot an arrow through a vehicle that's supposed to dive into the ocean depths and take, boom. What's this? Sad news. CNC 295 says the longest dedicated server to building out Star Trek ships in a 1-to-1 scale is shutting down after 15 years. I didn't even know there was such a server. Can you send me a link to that, CNC? I'm curious to see that if it's still up. Okay. Too hot for Airy to gmail.com. Okay, cool. That's a new name and a new face here. Hey, Bill, I wanted to talk about the Crimson Tide movie and your thoughts on the impact of the music score. Apart from its compelling acting and storyline, the music score seems to draw the listener into the deep, dark depths of potential conflict, of interpretation of orders in the U.S. military chain of command, of a nuclear warhead-capable submarine with a backdrop of a nuclear holocaust. I have 2 quick questions. What are your thoughts on the music score of Crimson Tide and the relation to Crimson Tide? And what do you imagine the music score of your Colony production will be like? It looks like a new name in Avatar. I'm very glad to see you here. I don't know if you know this, but I've talked about Crimson Tide many, many, many times on this show. Many, many times. I think it's it's certainly one of my favorite movies. It's one of the best war movies ever made, and we've talked about it a lot in a very specific screenwriting sense. That nuclear missile drill in the beginning is, I think it's about 1 minute and 40 seconds or something, but that one scene accomplishes so much. I should just do a half an hour just on what that scene does and how it makes that movie work in terms of like the perfect, the plot point in Crimson Tide is like flipping a coin and having it land on its edge, you know? Who's right? Strong case for the first officer, strong case for the captain. It's perfectly balanced. I don't remember much about the music other than the use of what is the name of that hymn? The actual name of it. The one that begins, Eternal Father, strong to save, whose arm doth bind the restless wave. A prayer for those on the sea. When the Alabama is diving and they play that, it's Eternal Father, strong to save. Is that the name of it, Dave? Yeah, we used to sing that in Bermuda because when I went to school in Bermuda, we would sing hymns every morning in assembly and say prayers too. So imagine that. But that sequence of the sub diving is fantastic. As usual, the sub is really dark, and lots of guys running up and down stairs in near total darkness. I haven't been on a boomer, but I have been on a 688 I've been on board U.S. Pasadena, and it's plenty bright in there. And that's something that that is going to be a challenge for the colonies because it's like such a tired trope, you know. Started in Aliens in 1979, so that's 50 some years ago or something, and or 40 or whatever it is, and this dark, flashing lights, dripping water, plain metal stuff is just, I just think it's garbage. It had its place, but now it's just unbelievable. I was looking at designs for these habitats, you know, and colonies, and then I look at these like these capsule houses. I would, if I was not married, I would have a capsule house out in the middle of nowhere. I'd probably just have 2 and have them right next to other. They just look like science fiction modules, and they're perfectly furnished on the inside. And they've got carpets and wood paneling, and they've got nice furniture, and it's not, you know, it's not like this horrific sci-fi dystopian future where there's no art on the walls and there's no amenities. Everything's made out of, you know, so utilitarian, and people would go absolutely nuts. Arteki says Nostromo in Alien was supposed to be a haunted house, which is why it's dark. Worked great in Alien, and it works in Aliens as well. And I understand for that kind of movie you can't get a good look at them because your imagination is doing all the work, but it would be interesting to try it. Something to think about. But as a trope, of everything being dark inside all the time, I'm not. I just think it's completely played out. So, yeah, the early '60s look would be great. That would be really fun. Capital G Geek. Greetings from the swamps of Northern Virginia. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and to everybody else. And we'll close with that when we get there. You should be getting a package with C.S. Lewis's Mere Christianity and the Problem of Pain. I hope you and Natasha find them interesting and helpful. Thank you very much. It's very kind of you. I love C.S. Lewis. I've read the Screwtape Letters, and he's a really remarkable guy. Recently changed my opinion of AI after finally learning how to prompt. For what I do, scripting mostly, it is helpful to create the prompt as a markup file in a text editor and follow one of the prompt engineering styles. Yes, the order of the prompt is important too, not just what you say, and not just how you say it, but the order that you say it. I had ChatGPT explain it to me. First it looks at this, then it looks at this, then it looks at this, then it looks at that. It's more consistent when it has numbered list and bullet points instead of prose input. I used a modified RTF / Risen framework that looks something like this, and here's a... Oh, it's interesting. You know, I don't really understand how this works, but you say, roll, you are a PowerShell scripting guru that always adheres to coding task. And in the prompt editor, one of the prompts to the AI is, you're an award-winning trailer director and cinematographer and storyboard artist. Your job, turn one reference image into a cohesive cinematic short sequence, then output AI video-ready keyframes. What a strange things to add to a prompt, telling the AI what it is. I mean, the AI is a conversation and personality simulator, so I suppose that really helps. But in any event, it is surprising, but apparently it works. I didn't even try it, to be honest with you, because I didn't try any of it because it just seemed silly to me, but you never know. And then he goes on to say, for the first run, I will ask if it understands, sees any issues with the task, or needs any additional information. Do you have a framework or format that you use for interacting with AI? Do you think some of these would be helpful? There is a series of prompts for Nano Banana, which is really good. You can give it just a wide shot of a Viking standing on a hilltop in the winter, and then it's a pre-written prompt, it's pretty elaborate, and you basically tell it to go in and get the following shots: extreme wide shot, medium wide, medium close-up, low angle, high angle, and then it generates one image which is composed of a 3x3 grid, and then you just say, go in and extract the extreme close-up, and then it up-reses that, and that's freaking awesome. So, yeah. Do you have a framework or format that you use for interacting with AI? Do you think some of these would be helpful? Generally, I have done a lot. I sometimes I'll have ChatGPT write the prompts, and sometimes they're great, and other times they're just a waste of time, and I just go in there and I just tell it what I want, and sometimes that works better. There's one shot in that second rover scene where it's Lisa in the foreground, and then there's a view out the window, and I ran it 25 times, 30 times, and I put in capital letters, do not animate the outside, the vehicle is not moving, and it just wouldn't listen. And that's the part of it that makes this make you just want to rend your garments and tear your hair out. I don't understand how it can do such amazing things but not be able to do like a simple imperative command. Do not do this. Just kept doing it. Kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. Yeah, so I spent 2 days with a weekend, 2 weekends ago, I guess it was now. And I mean, when I spent 2 weekends, I must have spent no less than 16 hours, and probably closer to 20. And all of this was to train the model for Nano Banana, and all of the renderings came out looking weak and waxy, and ChatGPT, don't worry about that now, everything should be okay, don't worry about that now, don't worry about that. And then we put the model in there, and it came out looking like junk, and I just, Scott Ott mentioned he had a problem where he was trying to get it to write code, and he was real excited about it, and the thing was giving him all this code, and he worked on it for 2 or 3 days, and he kept saying, are you sure we can do this? And the AI says, no problem, it's easy, we'll just follow these steps, I'll walk you through it, blah, 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 blah. After 3 days, it's not working, and Scott says, the evidence is that we've been working on this for 3 days, and it's not working. Do you think that means that you didn't know what you're doing when you said, you know what you were doing? And ChatGPT said, yeah, I guess so. Okay. It's got its uses, and the more I work with it, the more I realize what those uses are. Okay. Capital G Geek. God, we got a lot of them tonight. Okay. Greetings from the swamps of Northern Virginia. Ian from the Bug Scuffle Gazette, formerly known as Law Dog, author of the Law Dog Files, has a very new take on A Christmas Legend. I just want to say something, just flew into my head, man. It's completely off topic. It just flew into my head. I was just thinking about this fat electrician getting nearly 1 million views. He talked about a bunch of things in that episode. He's obviously built up his audience. I'm not saying he got that for Frank Luke, but he talks about Frank Luke. And more people heard about Frank Luke in the 4 minutes he talked about it than did in all the work I did for this. And I just saw Matt Walsh did a fairly big defense of the moon landing for Daily Wire. And I thought, if only the Daily Wire had a show on the Apollo program that could be referenced, something that really broke it down and left you without any doubt whatsoever. And I just had to get that out of my system. So it's out of my system. Anyway, Law Dog Files has a very new take on A Christmas Legend. It's of a mischief fox that appears to parents and encourages adventures. There are 3, and they are worth a read. Okay, great. Here's some joyous novelle and all the rest of it. Fantastic. Okay, I will try to get to that in my voluminous free time, but I will try to read it because it still sounds like a Roadrunner says it was more than 4 minutes. Great. Yeah, that's just great. I dare you, if you have a Daily Wire membership, I dare you to find it. You have to dig into other shows, and then you have to go down some other distance, and you got to come some down here, and I mean, I can't. I'm certainly not. What's the word I'm looking for? I knew it was a work for hire when I did it. I just thought that, even with the Daily Wire firewall, I thought that they would, show it to people. Eric says it found it easily, but then I was looking for it. I went there to find it. I didn't do a search for it, but I went to look for it, and it's just as far buried as it could possibly be. So, okay. Ray Juarez, Merry Christmas, Bill. Thank you, Ray. Same to you. On Thursday, you mentioned you didn't think felons with violent crimes should be allowed firearms, but you were not sold on it. I'm here to try and get you to change your mind. If you have the time, feel free to leave it for some other time if you're booked for time. The whole reason that violent criminals can't have firearms is that they're more likely to use them to commit crime again. This is skipping past the issue of said criminals being able to get as many knives as they want or other weapons besides a stick that goes boom. If a criminal has been found that they're likely to commit violence again, they should not be let out in the first place, as they're a danger with or without a gun. That's a good point. Some violent crimes can be when a person is young and dumb, and after spending some time in the can, they are let out on the assumption that they won't do it again. A person who screwed up at one point in their life doesn't pose a danger anymore, should not have the right of self-defense taken away for the rest of their life, And if they continue to be a screw up, keep them locked up until they repent and won't be a problem anymore. First degree murder notwithstanding, as I think they should be hanged. Your thoughts? Well, fair enough. There's not a whole lot of people that commit violent crimes that are, what's the word? Rehabilitated. So maybe all I meant to say, okay, you get out of prison, you get 5 years probation, and then after 5 years probation, behave yourself. Then there you go. Atomic Conqueror says, "What we saw is how I found you, so not a total zero." Yeah, thanks, man. It's good to see you. I appreciate it. Yeah, the recidivist rate, and the number of crimes, it's something like 70 or 80% of all of as an example, 85% of all of the carjackings in Detroit was done by 25 people, who had been arrested a total of 600 times between them or something like this. There are, you're right about that, and there's the paying the debt to society thing too. But there's also an argument to be made for the fact that, if you point a gun at somebody and you kill them, or pointing at somebody and say, "Give me all your money," I don't think you fully understand the purpose of why that Second Amendment is there. And there you go. But John Pershing says, "Is someone too dangerous to be allowed to own a weapon? They should still be locked up." That's a great argument. I agree. I'm in favor of locking these people up. Progressives say we have so many people. We have 2 million people or whatever it is in prisons in this country, and the crime rate has gone down. It makes me wonder what the crime rate would do if we had 4 million people locked up in this country, because it's the same people all the time. The guy who killed the Ukrainian girl, and the guy who set the woman on fire, and then the guy who did this, and the guy who did that. They've been charged and convicted 40, 50 times. That means they probably committed hundreds and hundreds of felonies. And we just keep sending them out on the street again. And I think we should just, if it were me, I would go after the judges. Legally. I would just bring some accountability to the judges. So, there you go. Marusha Dark, topic, music magic. So the other week you mentioned a few of your favorite Christmas carols. Thought I'd share some of mine. Carol of the Bells, I agree, one of my all-time favorites. Josh Groban's Oh Holy Night, not bad. Whitney Houston's Do You Hear What I Hear? I like the carol. I'm not a super fan of Whitney. Brindley Bounds River, don't know that. Taylor Morrison's Where Are You Christmas, don't know that. Christmas Shoes, don't know that either. Band-Aids, Do They Know It's Christmas? Not too much of a fan of that. Also the soundtrack to Nightmare Before Christmas and Home Alone, as well as Leslie Sterling's Christmas albums. I will say that Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You is designed to make people kill themselves. It's excruciating. And seriously, people who work in malls have complained about it. The people who have to work in malls and have to hear that again and again and again, it's just unbearable. Unbearable. To continue, though, so my favorites are God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen and We Three Kings and Deck the Halls and all those kind of Victorian things. So Marisha goes on to say, as you know, I'm not a Christian, but I do enjoy Christmas. And many of my favorite carols all have one thing in common. There's a point in the song where the singer hits a particular note, and I can feel it send shivers through my body and sometimes even bring me tears of joy. Well, that's very good. That's very, seriously, very a good quality to have, to be able to be so moved and so happy that you cry about it. I really, really think so. Remember when Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer was played every third song when it first broke back in the days when you had to listen to it on the radio? I regard this as something, a profound spiritual experience, since life, the universe, and everything is just energy frequencies. That's one view of it. And great music can resonate with your entire body, altering it for better or worse. I've noticed gospel choirs tend to be very good at this sort of thing as well. Of course, I also find that I get the same profound feeling from certain non-Christmas songs, such as Mark Cohen's Walking in Memphis, Bob Carlyle's Butterfly Kisses, or Huntrix's What It Sounds Like, that hit the very same sweet spot. It's very humbling. One might even say holy or unholy if the music is dissonant, like an opera singer shattering crystal with the right high note. Scott Adams has said that he uses the music medicinally to tune his thoughts and mood, not just for hedonistic pleasure. I found this to be the case as well. I no longer listen to music randomly or casually, but as a means of putting myself into a certain headspace, even if it's just playing a song in my head. Have you ever thought about music in this way as a tool to regulate your energy? Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and the TSL family. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you to all of you. There is music playing inside my head 24/7. I am always, and I mean always, every second of every day, constantly running something in my head because of the pretty nasty tinnitus that I have. That's the only explanation for it. It's one thing or another, and it'll get stuck in my head, and I'll just loop it, 30 times because it's better than hearing this ringing. I hear the ringing now. I was unaware of it until I read the question, and I'll be unaware of it again in a few minutes. But yeah, all the time in my head, and it can be the strangest things. It was, I don't know what it was a couple nights ago. I just thought, where the hell did that come from? But yeah. So yes, music certainly can calm me down. My beautiful Natasha's channel and meditation music, I'll often listen to that just to sort of smooth me out. And at least it's music, I think somebody should just I think you should just do it visually. The degradation of music, just in terms of its quality. I don't mean like, and all these music today, all the stuff that kids listen to is just noise. But if you were to put it on a score, just look at the score, and I don't mean going back forever. I mean just go to just look at Scott Joplin or something like that, or versus tick 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 boom tick tick tick. Let me get you a link to Natasha's channel. I was going to do that. Hang on a second. Some of this latest stuff she's done with fashion and AI is just amazing. Here it comes. And she's got so much stuff that hasn't been posted yet. It's unbelievable. Heard a story of some guy not too long ago, like a young millionaire or something, had some kind of trauma that messed up his hearing, and he ended up committing suicide. He just couldn't take it. It was just he just couldn't take it, and he wasn't willing to go with it long enough to have your brain filter it out. Speaking of which, months ago I had that first transient ischemic event. I had a second one. I have floaters in my left eye for a while, and took an MRI last Wednesday, and tomorrow I go back down to Cedars to see if things have gotten worse since last time, and I kind of think maybe they have a little bit, but we'll find out. So it's no sense in worrying about the things you can't worry about. And the reason I bring that up is because if I think about it, I can see it, but I've been working for 4, 5, 6 hours on this monitor, and I've been completely unaware of it. So your brain filters these things out. Your nose is visible right now to you. Nobody is aware of that, but your nose is in the shot, and it's always been in the shot, and your brain just takes it out. And when you look at one thing and then go over and look at another thing, that pan, when your eyes are in motion, brain filters that out too. So, there you go. Bob Neef, your thoughts on Disney World Santa now being black? Is that true? I'm sure it is true. I'm against that. And let me just clarify this. Not that it needs clarifying, but many cultures around the world, in fact, virtually all of them, will portray Jesus as he looks to them. So, European Christians will do a painting of Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes and so on. And I think that's actually appropriate for Jesus, but certainly we know what Jesus looked like. We may not have had his exact face, but we certainly know. Approximately what he looked like, and that's one of the reasons why the Chosen is so effective, is because the casting is so good. Everybody there looks Semitic, and so we know that. I understand why people want to, appropriate that. I don't need Jesus to look like a blonde European to get his appeal. This is the argument that the left always makes. But Santa Claus is a European cultural phenomenon based upon Saint Nicholas and the entire Christmas vibe of winter and Christmas trees and fir trees and all of that is an established part of white culture. And I'm just tired of being written out of my own history, my own present, my own future. It doesn't cause me to, it doesn't fill me with a blind rage or anything. I actually kind of think it's just kind of sad, that you have to appropriate and commandeer somebody else's culture, and this whole we were kings thing. It's like this Afrocentrism where the blacks built the pyramids, blacks were the first Vikings, blacks were all the blacks invented everything, and it's like, okay, it sounds really desperate and very kind of needy, So I saw one, and it's almost always promoted by liberal women. I saw one thing on Facebook. It's this liberal white woman talking about how Africans had first smelted iron into bronze, and the Chinese had first developed gunpowder, and somebody ancient, whoever, maybe it was some African tribe or something, was first dealing with atomic theory. But unlike white people, they didn't turn them into weapons. It's not that white people are smarter than other people, it's just that we're much, much meaner. So we weaponize everything. And I thought, there's a significant difference in engineering talent to go from, hey, I wonder if the world is composed of tiny, 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 tiny little marbles, and if you keep cutting them in half, you'd eventually get to the point where you couldn't cut it in half anymore. That's one thing. Building a nuclear reactor or a nuclear weapon and the airplane to deliver it in, that's something else. And the idea that the Chinese had gunpowder but they didn't use it into weapons. The Chinese used gunpowder primarily to scare away evil spirits. They did have like rocket-assisted arrows, but China is a very glacial, very rigid society. What do you need weapons for, or advanced weapons, when you've got hundreds of millions of people? And everything this woman said was just completely, bat guano crazy. And it's, did I say iron into bronze? I meant copper. Copper and tin is what I meant to say. And it just kind of, it's just sad. But the problem is that when you tell a lie often enough, people really start to believe it. And there's a lot of people out there that just really, really believe all this, that, you know, that they did all of this stuff on their own and then somehow reverted back to mud huts. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but, you know, people have to do what they have to do. And again, I mentioned the moon landing thing. 9 out of 10, maybe 19 out of 20 people said, I can't believe anybody believes that stuff. It was a shot of the Apollo 17 ascent of the upper stage of the lunar module blasting off. And every one of these people were saying, okay, well, who took the picture then? Who took the picture? And sometimes you see that when they come down the ladder. How is it possible that you landed on the moon? Where was the cameraman who took the picture? And it's like, so I don't usually answer these things on X, but in this particular case, I said, here's who took the picture. I took a picture of the TV camera on the rover. It took 17 hours of video on the moon before it took this. Here's your cameraman. And these comments, you see it with flat earthers, you see it with all this stuff. It's the perfect example of the Dunning-Kruger effect, which is the less you know about something, the more likely you are to believe that you're an expert in it. And I see these people saying things like, you know, can't be real because, you know, these guys have got these backpacks on and they've got little antennas there. You can see the wires off the top of their thing. Well, why does the wire only go that far then? You know, why does the wire only go that far? They're just plain idiots, Stimpy. I miss Ren and Stimpy. So there you go. Yeah. And again, the best argument for the moon landing is the one that came to me last, and that is when somebody claimed that they saw the reflection of a crew member on one frame of video. One frame out of the hundreds of hours of video taken on the moon, one frame showed what might have been a technician if you just freeze that frame and use your imagination. And that's when I realized, hey, that's a great idea. If we're going to have a whole camera crew in front of us, why don't we put reflective fisheye wide-angle mirrors on our helmets so that, you know, would you have missed it? If they'd stepped out on the moon and they didn't have gold reflective visors, you could have seen their faces. That's what we were expecting. That's what Stanley Kubrick did in 2001. But we're going to have all these lights up there, and we're going to put mirrors there facing the cameras and the crew and the lights and all the rest of it, so that they're just. But we are rapidly losing, not everybody, but the national, in fact, the world average IQ is going down, and there's no question about that. Oh, look at that! Thank you very much, IDK 40,003. $9.99 super chat. Hi, Bill. Been a longtime fan of your videos all the way back to PJ Media. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas to you as well. It's great. Really great. I really appreciate that. Thank you very much. And thanks for sticking around for so long. Here we go. Road Rider. Hi, Bill. Hey, Road Rider. Merry Christmas to the cats, Natasha and Shelley. Thank you. Oh, and you too. Thank you very much. It takes horsepower, as you like to say, to carry the writing of the colonies. I remember you submitted a few scripts to Cheers, and while they were very good, they were not accepted. I'm sure there were a team of writers who carried the load for that show week in and week out. Didn't Roddenberry produce and write some of the many episodes of Star Trek, the original series? But weren't there other writers too? Yeah. I don't know how many Roddenberry wrote. Almost all of them were written by other people, and they were all science fiction writers. So they didn't have to be educated about why you can't have spores in space and, you know, all the rest of that stuff. Some of it was uneven, and some of it was not so uneven. Some of it was just great. Oh, Rhaegar Targaryen Prime says, yeah, the first time I found out about Bill, he was doing a show called Claven and Whittle. Those were the days. I skipped Braden. I did. Thank you very much for catching that. I'll come back to that. Thank you. I'm rooting for you, really rooting hard. We'd love to see you hit with the colonies. You deserve this. Thank you, and I'm gonna get it. I am a coiled panther waiting for the holidays to be over so that I can go out there and strike and get this money moving, because it's coming my way and it's coming fast, and there's a lot of it. The question, can you get those stories bouncing around your brain onto paper in a cohesive, engaging manner that captivates us all? While I'm 13th in line tonight, and you'll probably never read this, I'll add that if you don't get to it, I'll keep posting in TSS till you do. Thanks for all you do. Thank you very much. Yes, I've written, I think 6-7 scenes for the Pioneer thing, aspect of the pilot. I think the pilot's probably going to be a 90-minute pilot. I kind of wanted to have them arrive on the planet at the end of the first episode, but now I'm beginning to think there's too much backstory there. So I'll probably keep them on Earth for 1 or 2, and maybe I'll end the pilot episode with them arriving at the space elevator, which would be quite a sight to see. If you've ever stood at the base of Empire State Building or the World Trade Center and looked up, it's pretty impressive. And to see something much, 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 much bigger than that, and just go and keep going, that would be great. Yeah, I got it, Roadrunner. I'm going back to it. Thanks. So thank you, Road Rider. The original Star Trek had great writers who had lots of experience, like Roddenberry, who was a distinguished flying cross winner, awardee as well. There you go. But thank you very much for that, and Merry Christmas to you too. Sorry about that, Braden. Braden Higby, howdy from Ohio, and Merry Christmas to Idaho. At least I didn't say Iowa. I did that in front of a group of people in Idaho. What does it take to get into DCS? It's on sale for half off on Steam at the moment. Can you use a joystick and monitor, or do you need a full VR headset or setup? You certainly do not need a full VR. I had a good VR headset, and I just didn't like it as much, because I have a fused disc in my neck from 1993, so my C5, C6 disc was removed, and so I'm missing a joint in my head, and I can't turn my head very far to the side. And in VR, you got to look behind you, so I use Track IR. But you definitely need a joystick, and a joystick, throttle, and rudders, I would say, would be the minimum, because it's a very realistic simulation. There are some really inexpensive versions of that out there, however. DCS has got a pretty steep learning curve, depends on the aircraft. I exclusively fly the F-18. The F-18 was DCS's first full fidelity model, meaning every single switch in the cockpit does something. But for example, the F-15 that comes with the game, or at least, no, I don't know if it comes with the game, but the F-15 that they've got is considerably simpler. But there's a pretty steep learning curve. With that said, there's nothing better than finally being good at something that's difficult, and there are moments in that game when I just you just feel like the Lord of Creation when you get it right. So that's great. So I highly recommend it. I'll come back to the second question. We got a super chat over here from Gavin Val. Thank you very much, Gavin Val. Merry Christmas. Wishing you a new year filled with good health and success in your many projects. Thank you very much. It's very, very sweet. Very sweet. They just introduced a C-130, so if you want to get the feel of the game and all that other stuff, that's great. But it's not a forgiving game. There's no difficulty levels. If you screw up the angle of attack on a carrier trap, you're either going to bolt or you're going to make a smoking hole in the deck. And I like the fact that it's not like a, I'm trying to think, was it Arma? A couple of those first-person shooters where it's like, you get shot, got a good chance of being killed the first bullet, but if not, then, second time, instead of, you get shot and the screen goes red and you recover your health, that kind of thing. So I really like the realism, and for me, the effort pays off. But just take it simply, man. Just being able to take off, get off the runway, fly around the pattern, and come back and land is great. there are tremendous tutorials out there on on YouTube, which are really, really helpful. And if you are interested in it, I would say you need a stick, a throttle, and not necessarily rudders, but that'd be nice. And I've got a really detailed wind wings, throttle, stick, rudders. I've got the panels, all the MFDs. I probably spent, I guess, about $1,500 on it, but it was the only recreation I have, and I love it. So I played it last night. I haven't played it for a long time because I've been so busy. But yeah, Darth Chuck says DCS is going to sucker me into building a PC unless they port to Mac. I don't think that's going to happen. There's something about the gun, the gun sight, the radar gun sight on the F-18 is just really, really squirrely. It just, I do a lot of just practice dogfighting, and I win 18 or 19 out of 20. But it's still, I'm just having a real hard time getting that. I think what I'm doing wrong in DCS is I've played so many flight sims over the years that the target reticle for the guns on the F-18 is derived with a computer by radar to the target, and so you have to put that gun sight directly on the airplane to get a hit. And I am so used to leading the airplanes, shooting ahead of them. I'm just so used to it that it's really hard for me to squeeze the trigger when it's right on there. But it's really, really fun, and it's a great community. And there are some people that just like on YouTube, the Grim Reapers it's a British group mostly, and the head guy there is just kind of don't tell him I said so. He's just kind of a chattering moron. And they do ridiculous stuff. And then there are other guys like Spudknocker who do 4, 5, 6 hour missions with former military forward controllers, air traffic controllers. And on those missions, you got to hit your time over targets within 2-3 seconds. It's really, really, really intense, and I much prefer the really intense ones. There you go. Atomic Conqueror, a cool name that is. Thanks, Bill. My other hobby is 3D printing, so the 3D printed sim cockpits are singing to me. Yeah, there's a number that they make. One guy's got something for like, I don't know if it's 20, 30 grand or something like that, and it's the whole F-18 cockpit, including the canopy, the ejection seat, all the controls and everything. Really cool. Yeah. Yep. Hello, valued viewers. I hope you're all doing very well. What is that? Is that how did that get in there? Oh, I see. Yeah, I got something to show you here. Little thing. Back again, just to Braden Higby again. Bonus question if you have the time. If not, skip. What's the difference between some of these larger suicide drones like a Shahad and a cruise missile? Sophistication. The Shahads are, I guess they must be GPS guided. I actually don't know that. They're slower. They don't pack as much of a punch. Hypersonics are all the rage for the Chinese and the Russians. Americans have generally selected stealth over speed, not only in the aircraft like the F-35 and the F-22. The Felon, the latest Russian fighter, is probably unmatched for maneuverability, but its stealth is not nearly as good as either one of ours. And it's kind of a preference for them. We've been using cruise missiles like the Tomahawk and the Harpoon and stuff since the 80s, and they're getting a little long in the tooth. They're very slow and they're easy to hit. But now we've got things like TASM, the Tomahawk anti-ship missile, or something. No, not TASM. we've got stealth missiles that are slower, but much harder to intercept, and they seem to be, working pretty well. So, there's that. Let's okay. Road Rider. Hi, Bill. Merry Christmas to the kids. Oh, I already did that one. Yes. And then we got 2 Eric Blakes, and we're done. Oh, I see. Thank you. Kirk's Bamboo Bazooka said, according to Fat Electrician, the 2 Raptors they sent up to shoot down the Chinese spy balloons had the call signs of Frank 1 and Frank 2 because Frank Luke was the balloon buster. I'll make that movie someday with AI. I'll need a bit of a studio for that because I can't do everything by myself. I can, it just takes forever. They say the world's a small place, but I wouldn't want to paint it. Or it's a small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it. That's Stephen Wright. Yeah. This Icelandic guy on YouTube, Facebook. I told these 2 jokes in our backstage show. Oh, yeah, he's hits and misses, but he's very very dry comedy. So here's 2 jokes from this guy who's on Facebook, and one of them is, how many feminists does it take to change a light bulb? The answer is just 1. This is 2025. Men can be feminists too. I love that joke. And the other joke that he had was that human beings are 70% water, except for dwarves, which are 35%. I thought that was hilarious. How many feminists does it take to change a light bulb? Just 1. This is 2025. Men can be feminists too. Clever stuff. Okay, so we got 2 Eric Blakes, and we'll call it a day here. Oh, thank you very much. Crikey, 6981. Thanks for another 12 months of very enjoyable content twice per week. May God bless you and Natasha and the work of your hands. Merry Christmas. Thank you. That's a very sweet thing to say. And Crikey, I hope things are going as well as he can for you down in the Happy Land. I love Oz. I love the time I spent there, and watching your government doing what our government was doing a year ago or whatever it was, and what the British government is doing now. They have no idea what they are brewing. You can only push good, decent people so far for so long. And after we Americans would want to say Bondi because, Pam Bondi, but I think it's Bondi, isn't it? After Bondi Beach, got a lot of friends in America, Aussies, and every one of us sat there and said, my God, if we saw this, we'd put an end to this in 2 minutes. So anyway, good on you, and thanks very much for the very kind super chat. Okay, so back to Eric here. Tonight, the case of the paramount priority. Hey, Bill, and all the conservatives doomering about all things Hollywood. One thing a lot of folks have missed has been Paramount is now under the leadership of a father-son team, the Ellisons, who are known friends of Trump. What's more, they've been in constant close competition. Roadrunner new man, with $100 super chat to close out the year. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you and Natasha. Maybe 2026 be the year of the colonies. It will be. I am on a focus that I've never ever experienced before, and my attitude about raising money has completely, absolutely inverted. I just can't wait to get out there and just talk to people on the bus. But thank you very much, Roadrunner. That was a very, very sweet thing to do. So, $100 super chat, and you are the bomb, sir. You're a steely-eyed missile man. Thank you very much indeed. So I'm back to Eric. Thank you. Merry Christmas. Okay, so what's more, they've been in constant close competition with Netflix in the bid to get Warner Brothers. And every time it looks like Netflix has clinched the deal, Paramount makes another move to keep the game going. And on the off chance that Paramount ends up winning this, the resulting media empire ran again by Trump allies will be bigger than Disney. No parks, of course, but that's another story. Now, admittedly, all the odds are on Netflix winning, but the point regardless is that our side has already seized a big fortress with Paramount, and nobody noticed this until the WB battle. In need of a cleanup? Absolutely, but then Rome wasn't built in a day and all that. Oh, and incidentally, what big-name sci-fi franchise is owned by Paramount? Merry Christmas, Bill. It used to be Star Trek. Do they still own Star Trek? I don't know. I know that it's look, it's good news, and I'm not trying to take away the good news. I'm not trying to piss all over this thing. It's definitely a good news. It's in the right direction. One of the problems is you can change the management, but then you run into the resistance of the foot soldiers. So Trump becomes president, and we've got this whole MAGA thing and all of these initiatives, and then it hits the immortal bureaucracy of faceless people who do everything in their power to stall, deflect, reverse. And so many of the foot soldiers in Hollywood are so unbelievably left-wing that it's really going to be tough to get the word down. But you got, like I said, Rome wasn't built in a day, and you got to start someplace. So there's that. And last one, Eric Blake, PS submitted for your approval is my in-depth analysis of one of your favorite Christmas movies and how reports of its alleged leftism are greatly exaggerated. It's a Wonderful Life. I never considered it to be a left-wing movie. I've never considered it to be that. I suppose, see, Potter is not capitalism. Potter is I don't know how much mercantilism is in that, but certainly Potterville is capitalism. Potterville is an economic system based on the absence of morality. Matt Harris says Potter is a thief. Yes, there's no question he's an immoral person. You've got all these gambling dens and strip clubs or whatever it was in there in Potterville, and the fact that his name Potterville and so on and so on. He's not a libertarian. He's a libertine. He everything is about him. He's a narcissist, and it's all about him. And damn the torpedoes. Now there's a lot of people like that out there. I've seen there's one thing, if economic changes forces some businesses out of business, like nobody's making whalebone corsets or wagon wheels anymore, that's one thing. But when people come in and raid a company, destroy the company, put everybody out of business or out of a job, and then the guys that orchestrated the financial deal, cash in their $20 million, that's why communism exists. Because of people who are not moral or virtual enough to handle free trade where everybody wins. And it's all cash, it's all short-term cash out now and to hell with the consequences. The hard thing about being a conservative is understanding that that's human nature and there's nothing you can do about human nature. But the idea that the market should be unregulated, I think, is nuts. I think it's nuts to think you can live in a world without laws and police. As much as you would like to. So if communism is utopianism in terms of everybody will share, then extreme, and I just never get the end of this, but extreme kind of libertarianism where everybody will act in their own best interest, and if they make something that's defective, then the threat of being sued will correct them and stuff. I just think that's equally utopian and unrealistic. The reason I love the big beautiful battleship is because if you want peace, you prepare for war. One thing I will say that was at the end of the right angle, and I'll just give it to you now, pleasant Christmas wish for the night and go home. But if it's time to bring in the Army and the Air Force, that means you're already at war, and it's hammer time. But the Navy and the Marines are about force projection. So let's talk about the Navy. Studied a lot about the rise and fall of empires over the course of history, and the pattern is always the same, and it's almost mathematically the same if you look at it. And a lot of analysts, especially one guy who did a really compelling, very depressing video that talked about the United States being definitely on the downward slope, and China, here's the U.S. coming down, and here's China coming up, and we're not sure exactly when these things cross or anything. But here's something to think about. The most capable warship in the world is a U.S. carrier, Nimitz-class carrier, but we're replacing them. We're scrapping them. We're not scrapping them because we don't need them anymore. We're scrapping the Nimitz carriers because we've created something better in the Ford. The Ford is a much more capable platform than the Nimitz. The best attack sub in the world is the 688 Los Angeles class. We're scrapping those, and we're scrapping them and replacing them with something better in the Virginia class. The best ballistic missile submarine in the world, the quietest one, the world leader, is the Ohio class ballistic missile submarines, and we're scrapping those and getting rid of them to replace them with the Columbia class, which is even more quiet. The F-35 and F-22 are the best stealth fighters in the world. We're replacing those with something better. We're building the first battleship since last battleship was commissioned, I want to say, was HMS Vanguard in 1946. And we're building battleships. The Arleigh Burke class destroyers are the best surface vessels in the world at the moment, and we keep improving those. And what I'm trying to say here is letting the world's leading weapons, when you've got the best weapons in the world, a declining empire will sit on its laurels and stay with those weapons until they rusted away. But the fact that everything we're doing is replacing the best weapon systems in the world with even better weapon systems, that is not an empire in decline. And we're not an empire because we don't rule other countries. The definition of an empire is a nation that rules other nations, legally controls them. We're not an empire, but everything that we're doing now with the Defense Department is taking the best stuff in the world and making it better. And that is a sign of a society that still fancies itself having a future. And the fact that, if we got the battleship because we named it the Trump class, if that's what it took to get a guided missile battleship, and I go into a lot more detail on the right angle about why I think this is actually a really, really good idea, then that's what it takes. And if the F-47 sixth generation fighter was canceled, but it was restored because it was renamed the F-47, if that's what it takes to get the sixth generation fighter, then I'm happy to pay it. It is. Crikey says, I heard about a Trump class, or was that just clickbait? No, it's the Trump class battleship. And there's a part of me that looks at this as saying, this guy's like a 4-year-old. He's like a 4-year-old, playing with balloons on his birthday party. But even if that's true, and to some degree it is true, it still means we get guided missile battleships, which we need. And if it turns out that we could have an orbiting fusion-powered series of of impregnable space fortresses to vaporize asteroids on the far end of the solar system, if only we call them Trump base alpha, then I'm fine with that too. The Golden Fleet is a term I'd not heard until yesterday, but it is a sign of a civilization that is renewing its commitment to defense, and it is the most encouraging thing I've seen in a very long time. Very long time. Having surface battle groups that are not consisting of aircraft carriers, the long-range hypersonic missile and advanced anti-air and air-to-air missiles may, I'm not saying have, but may have tipped the power away from the carrier strike group, which dominated for 80 years because the aircraft had range that the surface vessels didn't have. But that may be changing. In any event, I think it's freaking marvelous and spectacular, and yeah, and there's that. Let me just polish this up. So, shouldn't that be hooray? They're decommissioning the Walter Mondale. What is the Walter Mondale? I thought it was a laundry ship. Hang on a second to show you this, and might not be easy to see. So here I got this. I just saw it and I got it. Hang on. I'm gonna bring this up so I can have a look. All right. I don't know if you're gonna get to see the details of this. I'll try. So this is a piece of acrylic, and those are the nearest stars in their correct location. And I just keep this on my desk. There, you can see a little flash of clarity there. It's a nice reminder. In order for me to write the politics of this, I have to understand the routes, the lines, the railroads that run, and I can do that in Space Engine. I can put it on a screen and I can zoom around it in 3 dimensions and all of that stuff, but it can't connect the dots. And one of the things I've been thinking about doing, and I feel like I will do it, is, I mean, I got a lot of floor space in the office. I kind of want to go out and buy like a 10-foot by 10-foot piece of, I don't know, particle board, plywood, I don't know what material, but something at least 6 feet by 6 feet. Get down there with a ruler, mark off the squares, and build a 3-dimensional model of the nearest stars out to 30 or 40 light years on little like dowels with a little, different colored ball on the top, so that I can walk around this thing and look at it and then draw, with yarn or whatever. These are these lines. I really think it'd be just a cool thing to have. In fact, I actually started thinking it would be really nifty would be to do it so that you had little LEDs on the top of those stands. Spray the stands black, and then you'd have the 30 light year box in here, and I'm going to do it because I just think it'd be fun. If we get this, when we get this thing off the ground in early 2026, either I'm going to do it if I have the time, and if not, I'll hire somebody to do it. But I want a big one. I want the 50 nearest stars right there so that I can see everything. I think it's absolutely necessary. So there you go. All right, so that's the end of our questions for the night, and that's the end of our shows for prior to Christmas. New Year's is on Thursday. Yeah, it's about 30 light years there, Techie, something like that, I think is about as far as we're going right now. I guess we'll probably do, hang on. Yeah. All right, I'll tell you what. We will definitely be back for sure. We will not be here the 25th. So no Stratosphere Lounge this week. We'll definitely be back on Monday the 29th. And then as far as the next Stratosphere Lounge goes, I'm not going to do New Year's Eve, because New Year's is huge for Russians, but we might do a Friday show on the 2nd, okay? But we will definitely be back a week from yesterday, Monday the 29th. So we'll see you then. So we'll definitely get another show in before the year is up, but we won't get another show in before Christmas is up. So in addition to thanking our members for everything they do for us, I just want to thank everybody for being here, and it's been so useful and therapeutic to me. I get so many great ideas, and I want to wish everybody just the merriest Christmas. And it's so easy to get black-pilled out there, but we live in an age of miracles and wonders, and we still live in the freest country in the world. And as long as we can get guns for Christmas, we're probably going to stay that way. So thanks very much for being here with us tonight, and for all of you out there, have a really, really. Oh, I'm sorry. I do not like missing super chats. Let me just grab this one real quick. Almost got away from me. Timeline Junkie, the super chat says, "This is a hard question to word properly, but how do you see yourself or self-identify? What I mean is, do you see yourself as an artist first, or a political commentator first, or a pilot for that matter?" That's a great question. Well, it's definitely not political commentator, and I don't like the term artist. I mean, to some degree, I am. If the question, Timeline Junkie, is what would I put on my tombstone? The thing I'd like to have on my tombstone, I don't know if I've earned it or not, but the thing I'd like to have on my tombstone is he was a steely-eyed missile man. It's kind of a warrior poet kind of thing, and it'd be all talk and no action if I hadn't flown the experimental airplanes. If I wasn't up there flying experimental airplanes and surviving, engine failures 3 times, then it would just be, keyboard warrior talk. But to some degree, I've done a little bit of walking the walk. I would say one word. One word is I'm a writer. 2 words is I'm a writer-director. And if I could check out with writer-director, I'd be happy. But honestly, writer. That's really my one-word identity. Much more comfortable with writer than artist or commentator or anything like that. So I should get to writing. Looking forward to getting this seed money going, because it'd be nice to have a staff and I don't have to do everything. I can just delegate, and that'll be an awful lot of fun. So, all right. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here, and have a very Merry Christmas, and tell the people you love that you love them, and I will see you guys next Monday for your very own Stratosphere Studio.